In SQL, WHERE clauses filter our data to return a subset of records. There are many ways that we can filter our data in SQL when using a WHERE clause. We do this by creating conditions. Understanding the variety of possible conditions that we can write is the subject of this video. We'll start with some explanation and then use what we've learned to write some SQL queries. The specific construction of WHERE clauses in the select query is the topic of a previous video, which is linked in the description below. A condition is composed of one or more expressions combined with one or more operators. For example, if I said I am interested in all records where the variable length equals 3, length is a variable in the table, and 3 is a numeric value to which each record of length is compared. The equal sign is the operator. In SQL, this is an expression that we could have in a WHERE clause as a single condition to return only those records where length equals 3 is true. In SQL, an expression can be made up of a number, a column in a table, a string, a built-in function, a subquery, or a list of expressions which are joined by one or more operators. These are called operands. Looking again at our example, we can now say that operators join operands to form an expression. In this example, length and 3 are both operands joined by the equals operator. So now, let's take a look at operators. Specific types of operators that we'll discuss here include arithmetic operators, comparison operators, and logical operators. Arithmetic operators will likely look familiar. These operators perform mathematical calculations on its operands. These include instructions to add or sum, subtract or find the difference, multiply, yielding a product, divide, giving a quotient, and modulo, which returns the whole number remainder upon performing division. Comparison operators allow operands to be compared. These include equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to. When used in SQL, these operators can filter based on specific values or ranges of values that a variable might take on. Finally, we'll explore logical operators. Logical operators assess values of true or false. If all conditions are true, an AND operator will evaluate as true and return the values specified in the query. If any condition is true, an OR operator will return those conditions. The NOT operator will only return records that are not true. Like operators look for a pattern match, and if the exact or a similar pattern is identified, it will be true. We'll look at wildcards in conjunction with using the word like. Between is true if the value of interest falls within a specified range. And in is true if an item is found in a list. So now we have an understanding of various types of operators, how they join operands to form expressions, and now we can take a look at how we construct filtering criteria using SQL WHERE clauses to return specific values by setting the appropriate conditions. Ready? Let's practice. If we say select star from film where length is less than 60, we are using a less than operator to compare values of length and return only those records where length is less than 60 minutes. We could also write less than or equals to 60 so that we could also analyze those films where length is also equal to 60. We could also specify a range where length is between 60 and 70. We can see how comparison operators and logical operators can help us to build conditions that return result sets on a range of values. As another example, we can look at select star from film where rating equals G. Here, we are using an equality operator in order to identify films that are rated G only. We can add additional expressions to create a condition where rating is either G or PG or PG-13. Alternatively, we could create a list of values and use the keyword in. When using strings, we could also look at wildcards. Wildcards allow us to build expressions where exactly one character or any number of characters can be returned based on our criteria. Let's look at the example where rating equals G. When we look at this, we see only those records returned whose values are equal to G. Now, let's modify our query. Let's say that we want to return any rating that contains the letter G. We might think to try _G using the underscore wildcard, and let's see what we get. Equals _G returns no records. Why is that? At this point, we're using the equal sign, which measures equality. Instead of using the equal sign, we really want to identify a pattern. So we'll need to use the like operator instead. The pattern that we'll see in this case is any character can exist where there is an underscore, and then exists the letter G. Now, what do we get? This time we only get PG, and that's because we're using the wildcard search that only works for exactly one character. To search for multiple characters, we can use the percent sign. The percent sign wildcard search allows us to search for 0, 1, or more characters in the position where it is put. So now we'll try %G, and now we get both G and PG rated films, but not PG-13. Why is this? The percent wildcard search is only occurring before the letter G based on how we wrote the query. So if we want anything containing G, like we originally stated, we need to put a wildcard search before and after the letter G. So let's try this again. We're writing our query such that we're looking for a %G %. So giving a wildcard search before and after G of any length. Now we'll get any patterns for the variable rating where the pattern contains the letter G. Nice work. Now we have all the ratings including letter G, which include G, PG, and PG-13 ratings. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a note in the comments below. And thanks for listening.